Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 10 of the Should Have Gone Pro podcast. Welcome back. Happy Wednesday. Hope you're all having a good week so far. We got some NBA content today. A couple trades went down. We're still waiting to hear some other rumblings actually pan out, but we did have a couple that happened yesterday, and we're going to do our, at least for me, long-awaited all-star mock draft. I think this will be a lot of fun. So, yeah, we got a good basketball one for you today. Brock, how you doing?
Good. Yeah, I'm excited. Get to be I'll be taking the place as Kevin Durant today, and we'll see who these teams end up coming out to, and hopefully, yeah, I think we are all kind of on the edge of our seat waiting for the potential Ben Simmons James Harden trade today, but hasn't happened yet. They do still have, I think, until 2 or 3 o'clock Eastern tomorrow. So I would not be at all surprised if there was some late night movement, early morning movement tomorrow to try and get some of those deals done.
Yeah, I'm thinking so too. We've heard a lot of rumors and not a lot of action so far this deadline. That was the big one with Harden and Simmons, which I've gotten mixed reports from people saying that Harden is screaming to get out of Brooklyn, and some are saying that nothing's going to happen. So who even knows anymore? But we did have two decently sized trades happen yesterday. A little bit confusing ones with Portland. With Damian Lillard, people are saying they're trying the 0-82 challenge next year because they're throwing everybody away. But CJ McCollum going to the Pelicans. Somebody said it's the most random big three ever with him, Ingram, and Zion. But he's going to be in New Orleans, and they got back, I believe, a protected draft pick, Josh Hart, Nikhil Alexander Walker, who they traded away today for Joe Ingles. Honestly, this trade confuses me. I think they could have got more back. I know they got a couple assets, and I think they got a couple of second-round picks too, but I think you could have got more than that for McCollum. I think you definitely could have got at least an unprotected first instead of a lottery protected, which at that point, lottery protected doesn't really mean a whole lot for the draft pick. Basically a second rounder. It's kind of confusing. CJ and Dame were two of the only bright spots on that Blazer team. I know we've trashed them a lot in the past episodes, but they've rightfully deserved it. And a little bit of a confusing trade here. For the Pelicans, I don't mind it because you have these young guys that you want to get more help around. They made the trade for Valanciunas, which I liked, with Steven Adams in the offseason. They need Zion to come back and get healthy, but Ingram's still playing pretty well, even though it's under the radar. They just really needed help, and CJ should get them that help, especially offensively. But what was your thoughts about the McCollum trade, and how pissed would you be if you're Dame Lillard right now?
Dame Lillard, I think I would be very upset. I would have gotten out of Portland yesterday as soon as I found out the news. I think, honestly, for New Orleans, it's a pretty good trade. Yeah, they gave up some of that young talent and the draft picks, like you mentioned. But I think when you get a guy back like McCollum, I think that was kind of what the Pelicans needed in a sense. I think, I know Zion really liked playing with Lonzo Ball last year. And I think having that lead guard to sort of to not only score but distribute the ball offensively, I think that CJ McCollum is very good at that and one of the best at that in the league. So I think on New Orleans side, I think it's a smart trade. They got a veteran guard back to lead the team, provide them with a scoring spark, and then whenever Zion can get back healthy and get his weight under control, hopefully he can do that after the All-Star game this year. And even if not, next year, have a full run at it. But I think it'll be interesting to see what this big three looks like together. I think, they call it a big three, but I would consider it maybe like a big 1.5. But I mean, I think New Orleans definitely came out ahead on this trade, especially when you think that Portland turned right around and traded Nikhil Alexander Walker, who's another young player, right back to Utah for a guy that's not even going to help them for the rest of the season. I don't know what the hell Portland's doing. I get blowing it up, but I think I do agree. I think you could have gotten a lot more back for CJ McCollum. I mean, they were talking in the offseason about packaging him and going after someone like Ben Simmons. So I think when you look at it like that, in terms of what Portland got back in return, I don't think it was as good of a haul as I think they could have asked for. I was personally a little shocked that McCollum was the first big trade to go down. I didn't see that one coming, but I think New Orleans can be happy with the player they got, and it'll be interesting to see how they look going forward with McCollum, Brandon Ingram. You mentioned Jonas Valanciunas and Zion Williamson as well.
Yeah, I can tell what New Orleans is trying to do. They don't want a situation similar to Anthony Davis where he's a great player who gives his all for a number of years and they just can't make anything happen and they get angry and leave. I'm trying their best not to have that happen with Ingram or Zion. And I think the Pelicans are doing the right thing there. The Blazers, I feel like, are moving a little bit too quickly, trying to swing for the fences because it is still the trade deadline. There's still a lot of the season to go. We have several months until people are even thinking about free agency stuff. So to me, I feel like they're thinking a little bit too far ahead, and I feel like this roster is just gonna just be a total tank the rest of the season, and it's gonna leave a bad taste in the mouth of Lillard, who they're trying to please by bringing in another guy because a lot of these trades are clearing up cap space, which I agree is not a bad idea to do. But they better have a pretty good plan, and they better be hoping that they hit on their free agents in the offseason. Otherwise, the cap space is just going to go to random dudes just to fill up the roster, and it's going to be a mess. So they better hope they have a pretty good pitch to these big guys in the offseason. But a little bit confusing me why they did it so early. The other trade that happened was also a little bit of a shocker. Domantas Sabonis gets traded to the Sacramento Kings for Tyrese Halliburton, who everyone in the NBA believed was pretty much off limits as far as trades go. I heard a lot of reports yesterday that teams were saying, well, I would have traded for him if I knew he was available in the trade. I thought he was untouchable. And the Patriots said, we'll give you Sabonis. And they even got Buddy Hield with Halliburton as well, who was one of the best three-point shooters in the NBA. So, to me, Sacramento, I'm a little bit – I understand why they're doing this. They kind of had to make a decision eventually between Fox and Halliburton to be their lead guy at the guard spot. They have Davion Mitchell coming off the bench, who's a solid rookie. And they didn't really have a big man presence. Haven't really had one since Boogie was there in his prime. So to me, it makes sense. But I think they could have got more for Halliburton, who around the league has been seen as one of the best young players coming up. So I think Sacramento fans, they were really pissed, and they have a right to be pissed. Losing Buddy as well. I think people don't talk about that enough. He's one of the best three-point shooters in the NBA. So I do like them having Sabonis, but I feel like they gave up too much. For the Pacers, I mean, they want to blow up this roster, so with that, I'd be pretty happy with the return. I think Halliburton and Duarte would make a pretty good backcourt if they both live up to their potentials. So I feel like that's a good move for Indiana. I don't think that Indiana is going to have any regrets about that trade, but Sacramento down the line might. Especially since Halliburton will stick around with Indy for longer since he's still on his rookie deal for a while. And Sabonis, I think it's in 2 years he gets to walk. And if Sacramento can't make anything happen out there, he's going to walk for sure. So I understand Sacramento's reasoning here, but I agree with the general consensus saying that Indy won this trade pretty easily. So what are your thoughts about this Sabonis Halliburton deal?
Yeah, I think this is another one of those "what the hell are you doing" Sacramento Kings moments. I don't understand the trade. Yeah, I don't really understand the trade at all. I mean, Tyrese Halliburton was having a great second season, I think. And I think when you look, like, even back to the draft, when he got drafted last year, I think a lot of scouts, I think, said that he arguably could have been one of the top guards taken off the board in that draft. He ended up slipping down to the 12th pick. So I think Sacramento ended up kind of getting him for a steal almost. And I mean, he was off to a great second season, 14 a game, 4 boards and 7 assists. I mean, a great young, lengthy talent. And I thought he paired up nicely with De'Aaron Fox in the backcourt. Um, and I mean, yeah, for Indiana to swing Buddy Hield, Tyrese Halliburton, and even Tristan Thompson, which I think
Yeah.
he could probably be a buyout at the trade deadline if depending upon what happens with Miles Turner. I know Indiana, I think, has been shopping him, trying to blow it up and get some draft capital and players back. But I mean, even if they keep Tristan Thompson, that's a solid big man to come off the bench. And I mean, Sacramento gets back in return Jeremy Lamb and Justin Holiday and a second round pick for a guy like that. I mean, I don't really get it. Um, I mean, I think Sacramento Kings fans have every right to be upset. It
Mhm.
was a shock. I mean, I figured Sabonis would get traded. I just didn't figure it would be to Sacramento. I don't know what they're going to do. I mean, they've been a dumpster fire for years. I mean, ever since like Tyreek Evans' first couple years in the league, I don't think Sacramento's really done anything noteworthy whatsoever except miss the playoffs. It feels like that's the only thing they're good at. But I mean, it's just a shock. I mean, I think De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis will work together pretty nicely, but I just don't know now that you gave up Buddy Hield and Tristan Thompson, what else you're going to pair around the two of them to make any bit of difference. I mean, so you got an all-star player in Domantas Sabonis to put alongside your good young guard, but I mean, I just don't know what the direction is from here for Sacramento. I think this is just going to be one of those trades that is a head scratcher. And I mean, I could very well see De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis not even finishing out their respective. I mean, I could see them not re-signing with Sacramento, and they'd be smart to get out of there. But I mean, for Indiana, hell of a trade. I mean, you swung a great young player, got a fantastic shooter. I think Tyrese Halliburton and Buddy Hield are certainly pieces that Indiana can build around. And I think you mentioned it, Duarte and Halliburton in the backcourt for Indiana is a nice young core. And we'll see what happens with Miles Turner if they add even more young talent and more draft picks to that team. But I think Indiana easily won this trade, and I think they have the. They fleeced the Kings, and I don't know. It just Sacramento fans. I'm sorry.
One comment I forgot to mention the other guys that were going to Sacramento with Sabonis, but Justin Holiday in particular. I don't want to go super political, but I did see that he is unvaccinated and does not plan to get vaccinated, and he's going to Sacramento where he has to be able to play in the home games. And in Indy, he didn't have to, so he can't even play in the home game for Sacramento. So that's kind of not a big part of the deal, but it's something where they threw that player in and they took a guy who can't even play in their home arena. So um, I understand where Sacramento's coming from, but at the same time, I don't. So it's confusing. I do believe they had the longest playoff drought of any team in the major sports in America. So I guess they're just taking the swing at the fences, hoping they can get a spot in the play-in and break that streak. But it's a little puzzling that they gave up that much for Sabonis personally. Um, but yeah, I'm sure we're gonna have more stuff go down. I hope we do. Like I said, we've been hearing rumblings about Jeremy Grant, Ben Simmons, James Harden. Um, there's been a lot of stuff going around that Miles Turner. So we'll definitely be keeping up with that stuff. And if anything crazy major happens, we'll make sure to touch on it. But yeah. So now let me pull this up real quick for the people watching on the video. This will be a good one to watch on video. Um, I pulled up a little spreadsheet here. I kind of threw something together real quick since I didn't have one online, but we're gonna do our NBA All-Star mock draft. So I'm gonna be LeBron, Brock will be Durant. So I'll get the first pick for the starters, but he'll get the first for the reserves. One thing to note is that since Durant is out and he's on the East, Jason Tatum is taking his place as a starter. So that's one thing to remember here. But yeah. So I'll start off here with Team LeBron, and there's two guys that I'm kind of debating in between for this first pick. I think we all know who's going to be the last pick. um, but if I'm thinking between two guys right now, and I think I'm going to lean towards Giannis Antetokounmpo as my first pick, and he played amazing in the All-Star game last year. Just won the championship. I feel like he's one of those guys that puts on a show and has a lot of fun with the All-Star game. He was hitting several threes last year, and it was he made the game a lot of fun to watch. So with the first pick for Team LeBron, I am taking Giannis Antetokounmpo.
First pick for Team Durant, I'm going to go ahead and select Steph Curry. I think reunite the two former Golden State teammates. I think this is a pretty easy one after Giannis is off the board here. I think, Steph, regular on the All-Star game, always makes it exciting. I remember that. Good luck spelling his name there. I remember that oop he threw to Giannis a couple years ago where he bounced it off the floor. And I just always seems to be exciting, making exciting plays. Everyone likes the three, and I'm going to go with Steph for the first pick for Team Durant.
Let me ask you something. Were you going to take Giannis if I took Steph?
Yeah, I think those are probably the two consensus first and second pick. Whoever gets the other one is going to take the other. I would assume. Unless someone shocks me, I don't think as long as no one takes Andrew Wiggins with the first or second pick, I really wouldn't be shocked with anybody drafted on this board. But I think those are probably the two consensus first and second picks.
Yeah, I agree. So with my second pick, I'm going to pick the first-time All-Star showstopper, Ja Morant. I'm going to pick him. I think he's going to put on a show. He puts on a show in regular games, so I think he's going to have a lot of fun in the All-Star game, because catching some lobs, doing some crazy stuff, and I feel like his game is kind of built to have fun at the All-Star game. So I'm taking Ja with the second pick.
Also, before I take my second pick, we would like to mention that with Draymond Green's injury, DeJounte Murray, the first-time All-Star from the Spurs, does slide in and take his role for the West. So there's that.
Good point, yeah.
But I will be taking Joel Embiid with my second pick on Team Durant. Off to an incredible start this season, having a career year. I think right now a lot of people's favorite to win MVP, and rightfully so. It'll be interesting to see what Philadelphia ends up doing at the trade deadline if they were able to get a Harden out of that trade. I think Philadelphia is certainly a team to watch as the playoffs start and the regular season winds down.
Okay, so I'm trying to be strategic here. I think I'm going to match your center for my center. I'm taking the reigning MVP, Nikola Jokic. I think he is the best center in the NBA, despite Embiid having this crazy good year. People are sleeping on how good of a year Jokic has been having, and I think that he's at the top of that MVP race with Embiid. And even though he plays a very unorthodox game compared to what it is today, I still think he's a lot of fun to watch personally. So I am taking Nikola Jokic with my third pick.
And I'm going to take DeMar DeRozan with my third pick. I think, back fifth All-Star game, back in it after missing it a couple of years after getting shipped to San Antonio. But I've got DeMar back as my third pick for Team Durant.
I forget, is the M and the R, are those capitalized in his name? I don't remember.
I don't know. Oh, we also forgot. I guess we also didn't even realize. Jason Tatum starting for Durant, and then as the reserve role, LaMelo Ball. Like we said, he ended up making it and slides into Tatum's spot. So I guess we forgot that. But yeah, so Draymond, Durant out, Tatum into a starting spot, and then DeJounte Murray and LaMelo Ball as the injury replacements. Just so we're all clear. I know they're not on the screen. At least LaMelo and DeJounte Murray aren't, but those are the two replacement players for the respective teams.
Yeah, I tried finding an updated graphic, and there wasn't one that had a good list of them like this. That was, unless it was in like like 44p or something crazy like that, where it was like pixelated. So yeah, I think that what's gonna happen is I'll be taking one more, and then you'll get the last two, between Trey, Tatum, and Wiggins. So I'm going to take Trey Young with my last pick. Um, this guy, similar to Steph Curry, puts on a 3-point show, and that's the one thing that this team is missing is one of those 3-point chuckers, and Trey Young fits that bill exactly. So that's going to leave you with Jason Tatum and Tatum. Jason Tatum and Andrew Wiggins
Oh,
for
geez. Thanks, dude. Thanks for
your
leading me with
last two.
Wiggins.
You're welcome. But hey, um, as a consensus for getting Wiggins, you'll get the first pick out of the reserves. A lot of options here that you could go with. So, how you feel about the reserves? What are you thinking for your first pick off the bench?
Let me take a look here. A lot of good options. I'm gonna stick Chicago. I'm gonna go Zach LaVine. Get him on Team Durant. Get him paired up with DeMar DeRozan. I like it. Maybe not the favorite pick, but I'm be a little bit of a homer here and go for Zach LaVine.
Yeah, I can't debate with that because he does have a history of putting on some shows during All Star Weekend. That's for sure. Um, for mine, this one might be a little bit of a shocker, but I think he can put on a great show and get buckets super quickly off the bench. I'm gonna go with Donovan Mitchell, um, another dunk contest champion who can also light it up from three. So I'm taking Donovan Mitchell with my first reserve pick.
Second pick reserve here. Give me Luka. So go Zach and then Luka for my first two reserves for Team Durant.
Apologies to Luca. I don't know how to type in the little things over the letters. So for my next pick, this is tough. I think I'm gonna take. I'm gonna take Devin Booker for this pick. Having another fantastic year. I would not be surprised at all if the Suns go back to the finals again. So, Devin Booker.
I might go a little big here. I'm gonna take Karl Anthony Towns from the Timberwolves as my third pick, also in the 3-point contest as well for All-Star Weekend. So good for him getting involved this All-Star Weekend. I got Cat.
I was gonna take him as a good pick. Let's see. You know what? I'll take Devin Booker's running mate, Chris Paul. I feel like you got to have that combo together. And Chris Paul, even though he's not a high flyer or a logo 3-point shooter, he can put on a good show still. So I'll take Chris Paul.
All right. Down the list here. Let's see. So we got Murray and Ball that are on the list. Give me LaMelo. I think he'll be exciting, like he always is. I think making the first All-Star appearance, I think he'll look to put on a show. I think we can look forward to seeing some of those flashy passes. Who knows what he's going to pull out of his bag? I'm sure LeVar will be sitting there right in the front row. So I can envision LaMelo putting on a show at All-Star Weekend.
Yeah, I think you're right there. Let's see. Interesting situation now with some of these guys that are left. I'm gonna take first-time All-Star and Cleveland Cavalier Darius Garland, who's having a fantastic season for the surging Cleveland Cavaliers. And he can light it up anywhere on the floor. So I'm taking Garland.
We didn't even mention the Karis LeVert trade for Cleveland. I mean,
Yeah,
that's terrific. I mean, good for Cleveland. I mean, Colin Sexton hurt for the rest of the season. Karis LeVert just dropped 40 on the Bulls a couple nights ago. Great pairing alongside Darius Garland. I think Cleveland hit that trade out of the park too. So good for them. I think they're a team that is going to be surging the rest of the season, and they're certainly a team to watch come playoff time. For my fifth pick, got a little off track there. Give me Chris Middleton from the Bucks. I know I was giving him a little bit of hate a couple episodes ago, but like I said last year in the finals, he impressed me. Hit some big shots from Milwaukee and was kind of their closer. Very, very deserving of an All-Star, and I will happily pick him up with my fifth pick as my fifth reserve.
Yeah, we did forget to mention the LeVert trade. That was a great deal for Cleveland. I think Cleveland is moving in the exact right direction. I think them and Memphis are the two examples of rebuilds for teams that are still rebuilding right now. That's what they should look at and say, I want to do that. So, and I couldn't be happier for LeVert. I'm a big LeVert fan from his days back in Michigan. So, I think he's underrated. I think he's gonna prove that in Cleveland. But for my next pick, a couple years ago, you'd be shocked he was still on the board, but he's still here today. So I'm gonna take him, James Harden. Obviously, doesn't seem like he's too happy in Brooklyn, but we'll see if that's really true or not. And the Nets have really been falling, so we'll see if they can pick themselves back up by the playoff time. But I'm gonna take James Harden. Maybe knock down a couple threes.
I didn't even realize he's still on the board, but I'll take Jimmy Butler. I think that's kind of slipped through the cracks there. I didn't even notice him. He was sandwiched in between D Book and Luka Doncic, but Jimmy Butler, another solid guy. Loved him for my time. Loved him when he was on the Bulls, and happy to see him make the finals a couple years ago with the Heat. Had one of the all-time best finals performances in that game that they won from the Lakers when he put up that triple double. Was nice, great to see him make the finals with his own team down there in Miami.
Yeah. People aren't really talking enough about the Heat, I don't think, being the one seed, and kind of in the driver's seat right now in that top heavy, really, Eastern Conference. There's a lot of teams that are very close to the top spot, so that should be fun to watch down the stretch. Um, let's see. I'm trying to get low on some of these picks here.
I think we
Um,
only have Rudy Gobert, Fred Van Fleet, and DeJounte Murray left. So
yeah. Um, I don't have a big on the bench, and you do, so I'm gonna go with Rudy Gobert. Um, I know we trash him a lot on the show, and I stand by what I say, but um, I realized that I have all guards on the bench, so I need to get a big in there. So I'm gonna take Rudy Gobert.
all right, well, I'm going to
Yeah,
couple first timers on the board between Van Fleet and DeJounte Murray.
yeah,
Tough choosing between the two. I'll take DeJounte Murray. Just give me a little bit more size than Van Fleet. Putting up a tremendous season. I feel like pretty quietly too. Like I think when we were talking about him being us like one of the biggest snubs, I looked at his stats and I was like, geez, I mean, the Spurs aren't necessarily having a great season this year, but I think DeJounte Murray, gotta love what he's doing down there for San Antonio, putting up a quiet, almost triple double. It's pretty crazy what he's doing down there. I mean, good for the Spurs. I think they could just continue to nail their draft picks, and I think one of the most well-run organizations in the NBA.
yeah. I think he's definitely a good cornerstone for that Spurs team to build around. So, I'm gonna end up with Fred VanVleet, but I'm honestly very happy about that. Um, he's been amazing for the Raptors this year, keeping them kind of ahead of schedule as far as they were in a weird situation in the middle of the pack with a roster that's good but not great, and VanVleet's been a big bright spot that's really shown this year. So I'm not upset about that at all. So for the listeners, I'll read this off real quick. My team is LeBron, Giannis, Ja, Jokic, and Trae Young. Brock, who has Team Durant with Durant not playing, is Curry, Embiid, DeRozan, Tatum, and Wiggins. The reserves, my Team LeBron, has Donovan Mitchell, Booker, Chris Paul, Garland, James Harden, Gobert, and Van Vliet. And Brock's team on the reserves has Levine, Doncic, Cat, LaMelo, Middleton, Jimmy Butler, and DeJounte Murray. So I'm feeling pretty good about this. The only thing I'm not super happy about is I feel like you got a lot more of the size than I did. which if it comes down to the 2020 one where they were playing physical defense at the end of that one, which was a lot of fun to watch, then that could be a little bit of a problem for my end. But I tended to lean a lot more towards the flash and the flair with my picks. So, how do you feel about the team you've put together?
I like it. I like it a lot. I mean, obviously, I think I have pretty balanced. Got some flair with Levine, Steph, Joel Embiid, as well as some solid shooting, as well as like LaMelo. I think it's a pretty well balanced team. I think that if this were to be how they were drafted in real life, I think this would be a very competitive All Star game, and it'd be interesting to see who comes out on top. I would like to give a little bit of an edge to my team just because of that size, and it's my team, but
Yeah.
whatever. But no, I
Yeah.
can't complain. But I would just like to ask you something here really quick. So
Hmm.
we were ripping on Andrew Wiggins being a starter in the All Star game, which was a little bit shocking to all of us. But do you think he still, if he wasn't a starter and someone else was inserted into that role, do you think he still would have been voted an All Star,
That's
or is
tough.
or is at least deserving to be an All Star? I guess I'll put it that way.
Yeah. I think at most he would have been. I think he would have been one of those guys like DeJounte Murray who gets put in for Draymond who was injured. Um, it's it's tough. He's having a pretty good year, one of his better years on a really good Warriors team. So being a key contributor on one of the top teams is definitely a big pro towards your case to being an all-star. But um, I don't know. I feel like there's guys that could have taken that place. I don't know. It's really tough. Um, I think a lot of it was a lot of players got injured this year. Um, Lillard, Anthony Davis. There was several guys who aren't in this that are usually are because of injuries. I think that helped Wiggins out a lot too. Um, I'll say he would be an end of the bench guy, but as a starter, no way, obviously. But um, I do think that people are hating on the pick a little too much. Um, I think if he was end of the bench guy, nobody would be complaining. But it's kind of a tough situation. That's a good question. What are your thoughts about that?
I think I agree with some of the injuries. I think that definitely opened up a path for him to get in. I mean, it's weird to see. I mean, this is the same. They don't play the same position, but I mean, Russell Westbrook's usually a staple in the All Star game. He's having a pretty bad year. Anthony Davis
Awful.
hurt. You even mentioned Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, who
Oh, of
I
course.
feel
Yeah.
like I feel like are mainstays. Lillard. I agree. I don't necessarily like him. I don't like him starting. I think a guy like even his teammate Draymond Green or a Carl Anthony Towns or as much as we hate to say it, Rudy Gobert could have been slid in there to start. But I definitely think I think he deserves to be an All Star, especially just specifically for this year with kind of the injuries having ravished some of these players. But I think I do agree with it would be like one of the last spots to get in, or I would have been perfectly fine with DeJounte Murray making it in and then him being an injury replacement for Draymond Green. But I mean, credit to Wiggins. I mean, he made his first All Star game in a weird year where a lot of guys were injured. Um, but yeah, I think that definitely helped his case a little bit. And I mean, I think people who are hating on him being an All Star are more just I think upset about him being a starter and potentially taking away a starting spot from a guy like a Luka or a Carl Anthony Towns or something like that. But I personally have no problem with him being an All Star. I think he's put together an All Star worthy season, and I mean has been a key contributor to Golden State, who's played 90% of their season so far without Klay Thompson. And I mean, Draymond Green's been a little bit banged up too. So, I mean, there's a reason Golden State's first and second in the West all season long. And I mean, Wiggins has certainly played a part in that. And I think that's helped his case getting so much all-star consideration.
Yeah. You make some good points, and I think if people actually take a step back and look at the stats and And look at some of the deeper stuff like the plus minuses and all the what he's actually been doing on the floor. If you've actually watched Warriors games, um, I think you can make a case for him being an all-star. So I don't think it's too big of a shock. Starter definitely a shock, but I agree he could definitely be one of those bench guys. But yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about this. We'll compare it to what happens tomorrow, and I'll post this on Twitter so you guys can let us know who you think had the better team and what picks we made wrong. Let us know your takes on it because I know everyone's got their own takes, and that should be fun. So yeah, was there anything else that we should touch on today? Do you think? Or
Not that I can think of. I mean, we hit the three trades: the CJ McCollum trade, the Domantas Sabonis trade, and then we talked. I mean, yeah, we mentioned we forgot the Karis LeVert. We came back to it. So I mean, I think we hit the three main trades that were important and are going to have, I think, the most impact on the rest of the season going forward. Obviously, I think. I mean, if something crazy happens tomorrow, where like a Ben Simmons or a Jeremy Grant, someone like that. I've even seen Russell Westbrook in trade talks today. I don't know who the Lakers could convince to take him and his big contract. But if one of those big ducks falls tomorrow, I think we can make a case for giving you guys a fourth episode this week. But I mean, yeah, I think we touched on everything. Had a pretty solid All-Star draft. I think I got to say, Team Brock / Durant, I think is taking home the cup this year. But no, I mean, I'm excited to see what the two captains actually end up drafting tomorrow. I mean, if we hit the starters correct, both these guys get those starters right, I'll be happy. But I mean, yeah, I think it's going to make for an exciting All-Star weekend. And like I said, we talked about it. I like to see some of those new names, the first timers, the second or third timers get in there, and it's going to be exciting. I think there's a good mix of talent this year in the All-Star draft in the All-Star game, excuse me. Some of that flair. I think it's going to make for a high scoring and a pretty exciting All-Star game. And hopefully it's like the one in 2020 where it was super, like they joked around for the first three quarters, but when it came to that fourth quarter winning time, they actually took it pretty serious. And I think we could see that again this year, especially since it's the Kobe Bryant All-Star Game MVP trophy. I think they'll be a little bit more inclined to play that tough fourth quarter when it comes to winning time.
yeah, I'm hoping because last year's game, the score was just too lopsided for it to make it that way. But if it stays close this year, which I think if our rosters were the ones playing, I think it would be one of those fun nail biters at the end. So hey, but I will say this: if our starters that we picked, if the starting lineups turn out to be exactly what we picked, I'll give one person who retweets the episode on Twitter $10. So hey.
That's big money, guys. That's a cup of coffee at Starbucks. That's like I don't know, man. Like that's can't really buy a whole lot with $10, but I mean $10 from the man over here. I mean that's go get yourself something nice, guys. Don't spend it all in one place.
That's 10 McChickens. So so go crazy. No, yeah, but yeah, go show us some love on Twitter, Instagram at GoneProPod. Let us know what you thought about our picks. And be updated on everything that we do as far as episodes go. We'll be back, I assume Friday, and talking about Super Bowl predictions. And we'll go from there. So yeah, make sure you follow us at GoneProPod, mostly on Twitter, but definitely Instagram too, to stay up to date with everything. If you're listening to this and you want to watch the video, it will be up on YouTube shortly after the audio is posted. We just got to work with our good guy Adam Meyer to get that finalized. But other than that, I think that's about all for today. We appreciate all the love and see you guys soon.